This morning at 7 a.m. local time over Kuwait, 3 United States Air Force F-15E Strike Eagles, some of the most advanced fighter jets on the planet, were falling out of the sky. On fire, spinning, their crews punched out at high altitude, ejection seats firing, parachutes opening over the Kuwaiti desert, while burning aircraft slammed into the ground below. And here is the part that makes this story unlike anything you have heard from this war so far. It was not Iran that shot them down. It was Kuwait, an American ally. Their own air defense batteries mistook 3 U.S. jets for incoming Iranian threats and opened fire. All 6 crew members ejected safely and are in stable condition. But 3 $60 million aircraft are destroyed. And here is why this incident matters far more than anyone on cable news is telling you. I will explain exactly what went wrong and what it reveals about the chaos of this battlefield in just a moment. But first, while those jets were burning in the desert, CENTCOM released a statement that might be the single most devastating sentence of this entire war. They said, 2 days ago, the Iranian regime had 11 ships in the Gulf of Oman. Today, they have 0. Those days are over. 0. Not reduced, not degraded, erased. Iran's entire naval presence in the Gulf of Oman, gone in 48 hours. And that is just one of the things that happened today. Welcome to the Sandtable. This is briefing number 14. Subscribe and hit the bell because this war is expanding, not winding down. Hezbollah just entered the fight. 3 more Americans are confirmed dead, bringing the total to 6. And the Secretary of State just told Congress that the hardest hits have not even happened yet. Let me take you inside what happened over Kuwait this morning, because this is the kind of analysis you will not get anywhere else. 3 F-15E Strike Eagles from the 335th Fighter Squadron out of Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina, were flying combat operations as part of Epic Fury. They were engaged in active air defense, intercepting Iranian aircraft, ballistic missiles, and drones that have been pouring into the region for 3 straight days now. At approximately 7 a.m. local time, Kuwaiti air defense batteries, which were also engaged in intercepting incoming Iranian threats, misidentified the 3 American jets and fired on them. Now here is the technical detail that matters. The F-15E does not carry a missile warning system for infrared-guided missiles. It has radar warning receivers that detect radar-guided threats, but if a short-range infrared missile is fired at you, the kind that heat-seeking air defense systems use, your cockpit gives you no warning. The crew would not have known they were targeted until the missile hit. And because they were flying over Allied territory, over Kuwait, they had no reason to expect a surface-to-air threat beneath them. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dan Kane, confirmed the incident at the Pentagon. He said, "I am grateful for the safety of the crews, and we know this was not from hostile enemy fire." Kuwait acknowledged the incident and is cooperating fully. But this is the part nobody is talking about. This is the second time in 15 months that American fighters have been shot down by Allied forces in the Middle East. In December 2024, a Navy F/A-18 Super Hornet returning to the USS Truman was shot down by the cruiser USS Gettysburg, also friendly fire. That pattern tells you something critical about the state of this battle space. When you have Iranian missiles, drones, and aircraft flooding the skies over the Persian Gulf simultaneously, while half a dozen allied nations are firing air defenses in every direction, the identification problem becomes almost impossible. Every radar operator is making split-second decisions, and today 3 of those decisions were wrong. The F-15E is the heaviest and longest range fighter in the Western arsenal. Losing 3 in a single incident is significant, not because the Air Force cannot absorb the loss, but because it reveals the fog of war that is settling over this entire theater. This is what a multi-front air war looks like when the volume of threats overwhelms human decision-making. Now let me show you what CENTCOM did while those jets were coming down. This morning, United States Central Command released footage, unclassified for the world to see, showing American forces destroying Iranian warships in the Gulf of Oman. The statement that accompanied it was surgical in its brutality. 2 days ago, the Iranian regime had 11 ships in the Gulf of Oman. Today, they have 0. The Iranian regime has harassed and attacked international shipping in the Gulf of Oman for decades. Those days are over. Among the ships confirmed destroyed, the IRIS Jamaran, a Mauj-class frigate that was Iran's most capable domestically built warship. Sunk at pier in Konarak Naval Base. Also destroyed, the IRIS Shahid Bagheri, a converted drone carrier ship that Iran launched just last year, specifically designed to deploy guided subsurface vessels. That ship represented Iran's future naval capability. It is now at the bottom of the sea. Satellite imagery from Bandar Abbas, Iran's naval headquarters, shows multiple active fires, at least 3 distinct blazes, including one aboard a berthed vessel. 17 military ships remain docked there, but the base is burning. The Makran-class forward-base ship, a 230-meter converted tanker that serves as Iran's mobile maritime headquarters, has been identified in satellite imagery as damaged. Trump reiterated today that annihilating Iran's navy is a core objective. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, posted the objectives list publicly. Destroy missiles, annihilate the navy, stop terrorist proxies, guarantee no nuclear weapon. And on the Navy objective, they are ahead of schedule. Here is the strategic picture nobody is drawing for you. Iran's Navy was never about competing with the U.S. Fifth Fleet ship to ship. It was about one thing, holding the Strait of Hormuz hostage. Every Iranian corvette, every fast attack boat, every drone carrier existed to threaten. If you attack us, we shut down 20% of the world's oil. That threat kept 47 years of American presidents from acting. And in 48 hours, the U.S. eliminated the fleet that made the threat possible. But Iran is not going quietly. They still have one card left, and they are playing it. The IRGC has been broadcasting on VHF radio to every vessel approaching the Strait of Hormuz. No ship is allowed to pass. They have attacked at least 4 commercial tankers in the last 72 hours. The Skylight, a chemical tanker off Oman, was set on fire. 20 crew evacuated, 4 injured. The MKD Vyam, a crude tanker, suffered an engine room explosion that killed 1 crew member. The Hercules Star, a Gibraltar-flagged tanker, was struck off the UAE coast. Tanker traffic through the strait has collapsed by approximately 70%. Over 150 ships are anchored in open water, waiting. Maersk, the world's largest shipping company, suspended all transits until further notice. War risk insurance has been pulled. No U.S., British, or EU-flagged vessel transited the strait on March 1st or 2nd. 20% of the world's oil passes through that waterway every day. 20 million barrels. Brent crude jumped 10% to $80 a barrel, and analysts are projecting it could hit 100 if this continues. But here is the paradox Iran has not solved. They are trying to use the strait as leverage, close the oil, force the world to pressure Washington to stop. But the Navy that was supposed to enforce that closure is sinking. The IRGC has coastal missile batteries and fast boats, yes. But without the corvettes, without the frigates, without the drone carrier, they cannot sustain a blockade against the U.S. Fifth Fleet. They are swinging with a broken arm. Today, President Trump made his first formal public appearance since the strikes began at the White House, before awarding the Medal of Honor to 3 soldiers. And for the first time, he laid out the 4 objectives of Operation Epic Fury clearly and publicly. 1. Destroy Iran's missile capabilities and raze their missile industry to the ground. 2. Annihilate Iran's navy. 3. Guarantee that Iran can never obtain a nuclear weapon. 4. Ensure the regime cannot arm and fund terrorist armies outside its borders. He said the Iranian regime's ballistic missile program posed a colossal threat to America and our forces overseas, and that this was our last best chance to strike. He confirmed the timeline on 4 to 5 weeks, but added that the U.S. has the capability to go far longer if necessary. Then he said something that should make every analyst sit up. We are already substantially ahead of our time projections. Ahead of schedule. That is not diplomatic language. That is a commander-in-chief telling you the campaign plan is exceeding expectations. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, put it in 3 words at the Pentagon briefing. Destroy missiles, destroy Navy, no nukes. Then he said, "We did not start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it." Then came the statement that changed the tone of the entire day. Secretary of State Marco Rubio walked into Capitol Hill to brief House and Senate leaders on the operation. He came out and told reporters 3 things that are critical. First, there absolutely was an imminent threat. He said the administration knew Israel was planning to strike Iran. They knew Iran would immediately retaliate against American forces, and they knew that if they did not strike first, American casualties would be far higher than they are now. That is the legal and strategic justification, preemptive self-defense. Second, he said the hardest hits are yet to come from the U.S. military. His exact words, "The next phase will be even more punishing on Iran than it is right now." Trump echoed this in a separate interview with CNN. The big wave has not even happened yet. The big one is coming soon. Think about what that means. Everything you have seen, the naval destruction, the leadership decapitation, the bunker busters, the B-2s, the B-1 heavy bombers that CENTCOM just confirmed are now in the fight, all of that was the opening phase. And Rubio is telling you it gets heavier. Third, when asked how long this will last, Rubio said, "I do not know. We have objectives. We will do this as long as it takes to achieve those objectives." Now the development that expands this war beyond Iran. In the pre-dawn hours of this morning, Hezbollah launched rockets and a swarm of drones at a military base near Haifa in northern Israel, the first time Hezbollah has fired on Israel since the November 2024 ceasefire. Hezbollah's statement said it was revenge for the killing of Khamenei and in defense of Lebanon and its people. But Lebanon's own Prime Minister, Nawaf Salam, immediately called it an irresponsible and illegal act, banned all Hezbollah military activity, and ordered security forces to arrest those responsible. Lebanon's government is now trying to put distance between itself and Hezbollah as fast as possible, because they know what comes next. Israel's response was immediate. Over 70 strikes across southern Lebanon and Beirut's southern suburbs within hours. At least 52 people killed in Lebanon. The IDF announced it killed Hussein Makhled, head of Hezbollah's intelligence headquarters. Israel has called up over 100,000 reservists since Saturday. IDF Chief of Staff General Al Zamir visited the northern border and approved offensive plans. When asked about a ground invasion, the IDF spokesman said, "All options are on the table." But here's the part of this story that nobody else is connecting. Look at what Hezbollah accomplished with its attack. 0 casualties in Israel. The rockets fell in open areas. 1 was intercepted. No damage to the Haifa base. Militarily, it was meaningless. But politically, it gave Israel the justification to resume full-scale operations against Hezbollah, something Israeli military planners have been preparing for since the ceasefire. CNN reported that U.S. officials now consider the Lebanon ceasefire to be over, and Washington will not interfere with Israel's response. Hezbollah just traded a symbolic gesture for a strategic catastrophe. They handed Israel the war it was waiting for, and there is a new front beyond Lebanon. A drone, likely Iranian-made, possibly launched by Hezbollah, struck the RAF Akrotiri air base in Cyprus. That is a British military base on European soil. The war officially reached Europe today. I have to update the casualty count. CENTCOM confirmed today that 6 U.S. service members have now been killed in action since Operation Epic Fury began. 3 more since the last briefing, all in Kuwait. The toll is rising, and as General Kane said today, we expect to take additional losses. This will be difficult and gritty work. These are volunteers. Every one of them raised their hand. And tonight, 6 families in America are living through the worst moment of their lives. Whatever you think about this war, those 6 deserve to be remembered. God bless our troops. Let me give you the full day 3 picture that no one else is assembling. The U.S. has now struck over 1,250 targets across Iran in 72 hours. B-2 stealth bombers and B-1 Lancer heavy bombers are confirmed in active operations, the full weight of America's strategic bomber fleet. Iran's entire Gulf of Oman fleet is destroyed. Bandar Abbas naval headquarters is burning. 3 of the 4 objectives Trump outlined today are showing measurable progress: missiles, Navy, and the nuclear guarantee. The 4th, cutting off proxy funding, is being tested in real time as Hezbollah enters the fight. Iran has fired missiles and drones at 9 countries. It struck tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. It hit the U.S. Embassy compound in Kuwait, the Burj Al Arab in Dubai, and the RAF base in Cyprus. Qatar shot down 2 Iranian Su-24 fighter jets and 7 ballistic missiles. A Chinese national was killed in Tehran crossfire. Beijing evacuated 300 citizens. 555 people have been killed in Iran, according to the Red Crescent. Strikes hit more than 130 cities across the country. And despite all of that, CENTCOM says the opening phase is complete, and the next phase will be more punishing. Here is what Day 3 tells you. This war is not following the pattern of any conflict America has fought since 2003. There is no ground invasion, no occupation force, no nation-building plan. The Pentagon is systematically erasing Iran's ability to project power, its missiles, its ships, its command structure, its proxies, while keeping American boots on bases and in the air, not on Iranian soil. The question is no longer whether America can win this fight. The question is how many fronts open before it ends. Hezbollah just opened one. The Houthis could open another. Iraq's militias are already launching drones at Baghdad airport. And somewhere in the Strait of Hormuz, 150 tankers sit idle while the world's oil supply chokes. Trump says 4 to 5 weeks. Rubio says as long as it takes. And the big wave has not even come yet. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Share this briefing. Tell me in the comments, was the Kuwait friendly fire an accident or a sign this war is already too complex to manage? I will see you at the next briefing.